Okay, Canadians, are you ready? Yeah. The pink, that's the shale map. You'll notice that nearly all of the fields are east of the Rocky Mountains and west of the Appalachians. Guess where Alberta sells 95% of the crude and their natural gas? Between those two mountain barriers, because moving things over mountains is hard. The Albertan plan is to run the Keystone Pipeline through the upper Midwest down to the Texas coast, not to export from Texas, but to feed the United States. One of the weird things about crude refineries is that you consume the crude that you think you're going to be able to get reliably. And until the shale revolution happened in 2007, American refiners were convinced that the global crude stream was becoming more polluted and thicker. The problem with shale crude is because it's trapped almost at the point of geological formation. When you finally do wrestle it out of the rock, it's light and sweet. It has no sulfur, has no mercury. It's about 50 degrees API for those of you who do the math. It's the purest crude that exists, and the United States now produces more light sweet crude than the rest of the planet put together. In fact, some people don't even think it should be called crude. They think it should be called condensate. It's so pure. That's not what Albertan crude is. Albertan crude is super thick and super heavy, 2 to 3% sulfur on average. Our refining system can run on a mid-sour grade. The global crude stream is a mid-sour grade. But now that all this shale crude is coming online, the system is flooded with crude that our refineries are not well designed to consume. And so every major refinery in the country is in the process of going through a piecemeal retooling to dumb down. And instead of being the best refineries in the world that run on crappy crude and turn it into great products, they want to be able to run on the super light, really expensive crude that would be expensive anywhere outside of the United States. Here it sells at a discount, so it's such a glut. The Albertans want to sell their super heavy crude into that system, so you can mix Albertan heavy with shale light. You make a medium blend that everyone can refine already. And so if Keystone can become operational in the next 12 months, it's not too late. But if Keystone, say, can't start construction until the end of this administration, all the refineries will have already made the shift. Because now, all of the American pipelines that used to import crude to the Midwest are running the other way, getting the light sweet crude to Houston, which can build refineries faster than anyone put together. The Albertan tar sands will be closed in 5 years without not just Keystone, but 4 Keystones, because the rest of the infrastructure isn't enough. Remember this? Here's Alberta. From a demographic point of view, Alberta is where the money is, that's where the youth is. Alberta is getting better paid, better skilled, and younger, while the rest of Canada is aging into convalescence, to put it bluntly. Which means that for Canada to be successful, they have to tax the Albertan energy sector into oblivion and tax the Albertan youth into oblivion. But for Alberta to be successful, they've got to find a way to break both of those chains. Which leads us to an interesting discussion. Option 1, Alberta sucks it up. They do it for the country. They watch their energy sector go away. They watch their people leave. They fall into a recession that will last at least the next decade. Option 2, Quebec saw to it that secession is legal in Canada. Now, no decision from the Supreme Court on that decision. This doesn't really solve the problem, because Keystone is still a foreign project. It still needs presidential approval. This doesn't solve the labor problem, because now you need a different passport to get up there. You can't even import labor from the rest of Canada. And if you think it was going to be hard to put a pipeline through British Columbia before, can you imagine what it would be now? Which leads us with option 3. I am not saying that this is how it's going to go down. What I'm saying is that every labor, tax, immigration, and energy problem that Alberta currently faces would be solved in spades by this solution. And will they do it? I have no idea. Deciding to sever your ties with one people and to join another, especially when it's a people that you've kind of spent your existence defining yourself as not that group, that's a tall order. But if they don't do this, or if several Keystones don't magically occur in the next 18 months, Alberta goes back to being a backwards province with a per capita income of about 40% of what it is now over the next 10 years. And they'll be part of a political economic system that is completely dependent upon whatever scraps the United States is willing to give them in terms of market access. Now, compared to the rest of the world, that's not a bad place to be. It's not horrible. But if Alberta makes the jump, it's the richest US state with a tax outlay that's only about 1/3 of what it is when they're in Canada. That's a tough call. So watch Alberta closely. The rest of the world, we've got something very interesting happening. The United States is very close to energy independence. North America is even closer. But Canada does not have the ability to export crude to the wider world. It's like 50,000 barrels per day total.